start recording again. Now that we're recording, we're going to go over a feature called what if analysis. There are several what if analysis tools. We're going to focus on one called GoalSeek. So I am going to go and share my screen so that we can go to the what if analysis in Excel.
Okay.
Can everybody see my screen?
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Okay. So I'm going to minimize my picture here, and we're going to play the what if analysis video from the Goodwill Learn Free page.
Goodwill Community Foundation, creating opportunities for a better life.
Say I'm taking a class in school and I'm not doing very well so far. Luckily, if I get a high enough grade on the final exam, there's a chance I may be able to pass the class. The question is, what grade do I need to get on the exam to raise my average to at least a 70? We can find out using a feature called What If Analysis, which allows you to fill in missing information based on the data you already have. Right now, all I know are the grades I got on the first 4 assignments: 58, 70, 72, and 60. Before we do our analysis, we need to figure out my current average by adding a formula or function in this cell. In this case, each assignment is weighted equally, so we can calculate the number we need using the average function. To get the most out of what if analysis, you do need to be fairly comfortable with formulas and functions. Luckily, this one is pretty simple. We'll just type an equal sign and then average. Next, we need to select all the cells, even the empty cell for the final exam grade. If we don't, it won't calculate the average for all 5 assignments. Looks like we're done, so I'm just going to press enter. And now we can see my current average. Unfortunately, it's not high enough, but we knew that was going to happen. Now we can move on to the next step, using a feature called GoalSeek to figure out what we need on the final exam. GoalSeek is a type of what if analysis that basically lets you work backwards in order to find a missing value. It starts with the result you want, then it calculates whatever input is needed to get you there. To begin, select the cell that contains your formula or function, in our case, B7. Then go to the Data tab and click the What If Analysis command. There are actually several different types of what if analysis, including Scenario Manager and Data Table. But in this case, we're going to use GoalSeek.
Use what?
A dialog box will appear where you can set the parameters for the information you need.
GoalSeek.
In our example, we want to set cell B7, that's our selected cell, to a value of 70 by changing the cell that contains our missing value. And that's going to be B6. When you're done, click OK. And GoalSeek will take a minute to see if it can find a solution. Based on the message here, it looks like we were successful. So we're going to click OK. And now we can see the result we were looking for in the final exam cell. So I guess I need to make a 90 on the exam in order to pass the class. It's going to be tough, but I think I can do it. At least now I know, thanks to the work we did with what if analysis. It might take some practice to get the hang of the feature on your own, but it's a great way to figure out unknown values in your worksheet.
Okay. So GoalSeek is one of those what if analysis tools. It's probably the easiest one to use. So I want you to, you can remember where you put it. Remember when we created our own budget worksheets? Our own budgets. I'm going to open up mine because while I'm doing that, you can try to find yours. If there's a tab on on it. So I'm going to go to my share. So remember, we had our little budget worksheets where we were using simple
Right.
formulas, and we did the if function. There was also a tab in that worksheet that said loan analysis. And I think we went briefly over it. Here one scenario, we wanted to borrow $50,000, so we wanted to know what our monthly payment was. And then we did one lower interest and a smaller amount. So I'm going to, I want you to, I guess in another column, I'm going to show you that I created another worksheet called Goal Seek. And what I did with this one is I put in, say that I currently have a loan for $108,000 for school. And it is a 10-year loan, and the interest is 5%. And my current monthly payment is $1145.51. Now, I'm thinking, is it possible for me to maybe refinance this where I pay, $1,000 or less? And what would the interest rate have to be for me to get that kind of loan? So what if I can have a lower interest so that I can only pay $1,000 or less? So this is a good example of when we might need to use the what if analysis goal seek. So if you would like, you can, on your worksheet, put in these figures, 5%. We still have the 12-month payments per year. And if you divide the interest rate divided by 12, you'll find that the interest per month would be 0.42%. 10 years, which is, of course, is going to be 120 payments. And we went to the bank and we borrowed $108,000. So to use the goal seek, the first thing you would want to do is you're going to click in the cell that has your function or formula in it. And so the one we're using is the PMT. Okay, so the PMT function tells us that our current monthly payment is $1,145.51. So I am going to go to the data tab. I'm going to go to my what if analysis and click on goal seek. So the set cell, because I already selected the cell that I want the new result to appear, it's already put it in the goal seek. This is the one that's going to have your function in it. We want to know what value do we want the goal seek to come up to. We don't have to put the less than or equal to. We're just going to put, whoops, try that again. Accidentally put the wrong key. I want to be in the value, so I'm going to put 1,000, no commas. And by changing cell is the cell we want to change to get to our value, and we want to change the interest rate. So I'm going to click in cell C3. Okay. Is this making sense so far? Yay, nay? I can't see you.
Yeah.
Yay.
Okay. All right. So I'll go over that again. The first cell that we want to have selected is by the changing cell. This is the one that's going to have the formula in it or a function. We're going to tell it what we want it to say, and we're going to tell it what we want to change to get there. When you have those three filled in, you click OK, And it's telling me I would need a loan of 2.13% in order to have a payment of $1,000. So when I go to the bank, that's what I want to negotiate. So if you have really good credit, if the banks are, giving you those kind of things, you might have something to negotiate. So you can see how this can be very helpful. You can compare loans. You can compare, situations. It's a very simple function to use. Any questions about that? Do you think this is something that you would find valuable and easy to use?
Yeah.
It is something you have to play around with. So again, the things that you want to do, the example they use, I thought was really good with the grades. If this was a graded class and you wanted to see what grade you were going to need, and I've used things like this for my students who wanted to reach a certain grade, they could determine what they would need to do to get that grade. So, all right, those are the tools that I wanted to go over today. The one thing that I want to make sure, and I had a little discussion before class, is that I know that I've given a lot of information for you to consider. And I know it's a lot to absorb. And a lot of you have said that, it does take time to practice these things. So I would like to get input from you if there's anything I need to go over again. And one of the things that I think is most important is understanding how to use functions and formulas. If you don't grasp that, you're going to have a lot of problems, because the whole point of Excel is so that it can manipulate numbers so that you can get results. So I'm willing to go back over the functions and formulas. And if you have any particular scenarios that you are currently working on that you would like to have some answers to, I think this would be a good time to do that. Next week, what I'd like to cover, and again, I'm going to leave it up to you what you really want to learn. I've been talking a lot about data. So we talked about having a data sheet and using it, how to filter and sort and do data sets. So the last area of working with data would be going to a pivot table. How many, I don't want to have you raise hands, but have you heard of pivot tables before?
No.
No?
No.
No.
Heard of it, but have no idea.
Yeah, a pivot table allows you to take large amounts of data out of a database and put it in a much smaller, more understandable, readable visualization. And it can be quite involved. I don't want to go over it today. I don't want to go over it unless you want me to. But I can do that next week if there's no other. I've covered so much of Excel here and I'm a little ahead of schedules because you guys are fast learners. So
Can we work on a budget
you wanna
next
work-
week?
Yeah, we can. What do you want to learn from the budget?
How to really change the cells when I need to, without having to retype all the stuff.
Okay, so that would be copying worksheets. I think somebody else mentioned that too, how to copy worksheets and just make minor modifications.
Minor adjustments, yeah.
Yeah, and that's a time saver. But I will tell you that I did use pivot tables, Dorothy, when I was the financial secretary. When I gave the monthly report, I had a very large database for the entire year, and I was able to make a monthly report. Rather than pulling out data from the entire year, I was able to make a small little table that everybody could read from my report. So that's giving you one way of using that.
Yes, and that's where I heard the term pivot tables, but I have no clue what you did. I certainly didn't do it.
Okay. Like I said, I think it can be helpful, but I don't want to overwhelm you. I think there's so much that you can do. You need to do things that's going to be beneficial to you. Don, since you work with Excel a lot, I was wondering if you had anything in particular that you want to know more about.
Not yet at this point. I get spreadsheets from the Postal Service that are humongous. They're huge. So this stuff is helpful for me to navigate and all that stuff. I don't create Excel files much. I just receive a lot of them.
Yeah, well, that's very, just like with me, I would receive large databases. I didn't create them, but I had to, sort through it so that I can make sense of it, because a lot of times you will get data that you don't need and people just expect you to extract what you need. And if you don't know how to do it, it can be tedious and it can be overwhelming. And I, like you, that's one of the things that why I started learning about pivot tables. Initially, I didn't know what to do with them, and Excel made it easier to use. But again, not everybody's going to necessarily want to use pivot tables, because not everybody gets large data sets like you and I did. And especially if you're just doing things on your own, you may not need a spreadsheet that big, but you never know. So, but I can definitely go back over the budget. And we have some time right now if everybody wants to revisit that. Anybody have any problem with that? Okay. So, Mary?
Yes.
Let's take a look a little bit at the budget worksheet, and you can kind of tell me some of the things that you're really wanting to revisit.
Oh, you gonna bring one up?
I'm going to bring up the one that we did earlier. This one. Does everybody see it?
Mhm.
Yes.
Yeah, we can see it.
Okay. I'm going to minimize. So for example, let's say we wanted to make just a monthly, this one's a yearly budget. Let's say we wanted to make a monthly budget.
Okay.
So we can create a worksheet that just covers just the month.
Okay.
So I'm going to try to make a, let's see. I'm going to take this first month, I'm going to highlight it, and I'm going to try to make a, I guess maybe a chart of that. So I'm going to insert a chart, probably a column chart. There's a nice little button over here called recommended charts. I like this. This kind of gives you an idea of what it's going to look like without you having to do it yourself. So I'm going to choose that one, the cluster column. Click OK. And I'm going to make it a sheet. So I'm going to move it and call it January.
Okay. Chart design.
Spelled it there.
See what chart design.
Can everybody see my January chart?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. So notice that it has income and expenses down here, and it's showing. And if I want to make it look a little better, I can choose Let's see. Yeah, this one's got bigger. Let's just choose that one. So at the top of each column, you notice when I hover over it, it tells me what the series is January, and this is the income, and it tells me the value at 7,500. If I
Okay.
want to put that there, the 7,500, what I can do is I can go to my data label where it says chart elements
Uh-huh.
and add data label. And notice that when I
Oh,
click on data label, it puts
Okay.
numbers above the columns. And I could have it, right now it's on the outside end. I could have it on the inside. It gives me various different options. So I'm just trying to keep things a little simple. So that makes it a little easier to read. So I can tell at a glance what those bars, rather than try to guess what they are, it tells me exactly what those numbers are. Okay.
okay.
And I already have a title.
Good.
Let's see what else would I,
Can you
So-
make the income and the expenses different color?
yes. So if I want to, I'm going to double click on, so I can get, let's see if I can go and hold down the shift key. There we, oops, okay. Let's see. I don't want to have to do it individually. It looks like I might have to. There should be a way. I haven't had to do that. Okay, I guess I had to do it individually. So double click on the one that you want, for example, the rent. And if I want to change the color, when I go to the right, you will see it says format data point in this little bucket, fill. And I want to fill it with a particular color.
Don't see that.
You don't.
Nope.
I see that, yeah.
I see the paintbrush under the plus.
Okay, go
It's
to
on right of it.
go to the far right. When you double click on a number, you should see, okay, that's, you see the 4 dots around the rent?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. When I did that, you should see to the far right of your window, you should see it says format data point. Do you not see
No.
that?
No, our pictures are in that.
Oh, I got mine. I can see it okay. Put your picture up in the corner.
I
Yeah,
can
are you-
see mine also. My pictures are across the top of the screen.
And I moved it
I
off
have-
my screen.
Yeah, I have it.
Okay, on your pictures, let's see. If you move to the upper right of the pictures, you should see, let's see if you can see what I see. You have a dash, a little square, 2
Yes.
horizontal lines. Okay, so click on the smallest one. And that should make
Okay.
the pictures go really
Got
small.
it. Thank
Okay.
you.
Now, do you see the data format data point on the right?
Yes, yes.
Okay, so you'll see under series options, you see a little bucket. And you hover, it should say fill and line.
Yes.
And under fill, when you click on fill, if you want a solid fill, you can, or you can keep it at automatic. Let's make it solid fill. And then there's a color, and you can change whatever color you want it to be
Okay.
so that it stands out. Okay.
Okay. So you have to do each one individual.
Yeah, because it only, unfortunately, it only does either one or all. I thought I could do, individual selections, but I couldn't seem to get that to do
Okay.
that.
Okay.
Gina,
Okay.
can you hear me?
Yes, I can.
Okay. What if you clicked on the funnel that's on the top right of the chart? Would that,
This
Would
is a filter.
but would you
So-
be able to filter income and expenses and then do the color?
Well, filtering, it means you're going to take it out.
But then you could put it back in if you
Yes.
wanted to change the colors of all the expenses, right? Couldn't
Yeah.
you?
Yeah.
Wouldn't
Yeah, I
that,
see.
that'd be easier than doing each one individually?
That's true. Okay. So if we wanted to filter out expenses or filter out income, let's take the income out and apply.
No.
And now we want the expenses to be all that same color.
Mhm.
Then we can, it's a very good idea. Go back to solid fill.
But it's doing all of them.
Yeah. Actually, I clicked on the wrong thing. I wanted to click on the columns, not the letters. Let me undo. Let's see. Control-Z. Oops. All right, let me do that again. Go to the filter, and I want to filter out income. Want to apply,
Right.
and I want to click on the last.
You've still got one income there.
Okay, it's not doing what I wanted.
Sorry, I'm making it more complicated.
No, I'm just trying to get,
Color.
okay. So now I need to also filter out the total, it looks like. Take out, not January, but
And income job, filter
yes,
that out. Yeah.
and expense total.
Yeah, right.
All right. So now I can click on that and go to my solid fill.
There we go.
Yeah, there you go.
Okay. And like you said, now I can bring back,
Total.
go back into my filter and select all. Oh, there we go. If I select all. Okay, let's try that.
That's all expenses.
Can't.
Yeah, it's all expenses. Okay,
What happened to the income?
uh,
Let's see, we didn't want those yellow.
Oh, would it be the series? Oh,
You don't really want to select all. You don't want income
then
job.
just click that and make that a different color. The income, just the income. Now I can go to the income, make it solid. Whoa.
oh, wow.
Okay,
Not bad.
let me undo what I did. Thank goodness for the undo. Okay. All right.
Oh, everything is orange. Oh, sorry, I made it more complicated than it needed to be.
I mean, it's a way of doing it. You have to play around with it. I mean, doing it on
Yeah.
the fly like this, I should be able to just select those three.
Mhm.
I'm gonna once again try select all and then just click the three income
Mhm.
and apply just the income. Go to my fill, solid fill and change. I don't know why the solid fill is changed. That's going to, oh, that's no wonder it says chart options as opposed to text
Oh.
options. That's why. I'm trying to do it too fast. Okay. So I'm just going to leave it as it is and then just change the color. And change the color to something like green. Why did it not change? Green. Fill color. Green. There we go.
There we go.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So now I'm going to go back to, whoops. No, I don't want select all to include, let's see if I go expenses, well, expenses, the orange again. I'm not sure how to do that. It's I think doing it one at a time might be the only thing you can do.
Okay, sorry, I made it complicated.
No, it's not you.
Well, that's how you learn.
Yeah, that's how you learn. You play around with it. I can play around with it a little later and come up with a way of doing that. But the one thing, you do have the choices to get it the way you want. I'm just not doing it right now. So I apologize for that.
Well, I wonder if it's the checkbox by where it says select all. If that was unchecked, then you could just check what you want. Couldn't you?
We talked about that, yeah.
That's what we did.
Mhm.
Right now, we're not including. See, we were just doing just those, and we wanted those to be green.
Right.
Huh.
You can have
Sorry.
you can have two different charts. You can have one expenses and one income.
Yeah.
That's true. Yeah.
So you can say January expenses, but I don't know if you can put it. You can. You know, it's interesting trying to problem solve this on the fly like this, but gives me something to think about. But there's a way of just taking the budget, making a what's the word I'm looking for? Just by the month. So let me try this. Let me try just copying
January.
this column, copy, and I'm going to create a new sheet and paste. Okay, let's call this January. Okay. I'm missing the data. What did I miss? I'm missing the data from the income.
Mhm.
Copy. Go back to sheet 1. I'm going to insert some blank. I want to insert a blank row. Yes, inserting. Okay, so let's just move this down. Can't do that because of the merge cell. Okay, so I'm going to unmerge that cell and unmerge this cell. And now let's see if we can drag it down. Got too many merged cells. Oh, it did it. Okay. So now I'll merge them again. Here we go. All right. Now I want to take this here and copy it up here. Okay. And
Doesn't tell you what month.
January.
Now it tells you that what month.
Right, so I'm going kind of fast, but I'm giving you an idea of how you can do this. So what did we have here? The other. Let's see, the
It's an
job
in-
was D5. Where's D5? D5, 1800. Other was, so what's D5? D5 is 1800. That's just, the
The
job was supposed to be 75.
retirement pay, yeah.
The job was just 7,500, right?
Right.
Okay, so the
And
job,
the other should be 5,500.
okay, so let's point it to the right place. If the job is supposed to be 700, it should be equals D2. So I'm going to type in equals D2. The other was 5,500, so that's going to equal. Here we go. Does this make sense so far?
Yes.
Okay. So here are our expenses. And so this shows, let's make sure this is right. The D12 minus D24. D12 is our total monthly income minus our total monthly expenses. Okay. So let's just, I mean, this is really quickly on the fly, but I'm going to make this a January tab. And I want to copy this particular format. So I'm going to copy it. I'm going to move it to the end, create a copy. It's going to say January 2. Here's January 2. Let's call this February. Okay, so let's see what the February numbers were. Our February numbers were here, right?
Yeah, but you didn't copy the job. Or, oh, yes, you did. Excuse me.
So I'm going to, let's see, can I copy? I'm going to hold down my control key and click. So I've got two non-adjacent columns. I want the same labels and I want the new figures. So I'm going to copy. And in my February, I'm going to see if, Control V. So what did last February say? February said, okay, utilities was 230. Let's see if my February has 230. Okay.
Yeah. Does.
Okay, so you see that you can, of course, if I were going to do this, I would have done this part first. I would do the one for January, and then I would just copy more sheets and rename them, and then I would be able to just put in the figures. Is that what you were saying, that you wanted to know what to do?
Well, you know what budget I work on, so that's trying to, you know, how to do the different sales.
Well, again, I can work with you offline on that. I mean, you paid for my time, and so I will give you my time.
Okay,
And we can work on that.
okay.
But when I created my budget originally, when I'm going to do something especially for 12 months, I'll do the first month first, make sure my formulas are where they are. And remember when we did, what was it that we did? Where we copied our worksheet. We copied a second one, blanked out all the numbers, but kept the formulas there so that we can add new formulas. It's the same way we did back then. I'm trying to remember what it was that we did. It was my first thing on the budget. Can't remember it now.
I think I was gone.
But that's, I mean, basically, that's what you would do. You would oftentimes, especially when you're doing things that are going to be repetitious and you just want different labels, you copy the first one first. Put in all your formulas, your input and output. And remember, the input is the things that's going to change. The output remains the same because it's the result of, your functions or formulas. So when you delete the input, the numbers that change, but you're not deleting your functions. So when you put in new numbers, the functions automatically update.
Updates.
And that's the basic formula that I use.
Okay.
I would create my original, let's say I wanted to make these, let's just say this was a yearly, I want to do yearly budget. I would have this sheet as say 2021. In fact, I actually did this for my own budget. When I retired, I copied all my budget figures and that was called 2020. And then I took out all the input numbers.
Mm-hmm.
In this case, and I'm just going to demonstrate this because I know these are input. These are all input numbers. So I take this out and I would copy this sheet. I'm just going to call this budget 2020.
Wouldn't you take out the expense numbers?
Yeah, I
at this
will.
point?
I would. I'm just
Okay.
saying, right, just trying to show just this part. So I'm going to copy, move to the end, and I'm going to call this, let's just call this income 2020. How's that?
Okay.
Okay. So let's say that my expenses are all fixed, and we know they're not in this case, but let's say my income is all fixed. My expenses are all fixed. Now for 2022, I would, again, make a new copy, move to the end, and call this one 2022.
Oh, okay.
See what I'm saying?
Uh-huh.
2020, 2021 in this case. Oops. 2021. Okay. So between 2020, let's say my income was, let's put some figures in here. Let's see, the job.
You made 21,000 in a month.
No, that's, sorry. Let's
I
say,
want to work for you.
okay.
Me too.
All right, so let's say that's my income throughout the, so I'm gonna just copy this all the way across. Okay, so that's 2020, okay? And then for 2021, when I retire, it's gonna be a lot different. Let's say, what did I say before was, what was it? So let's say it's, okay, let's try this. Let's say it's 2,500
Yeah.
and still 1,200. And copy this all the way across. So you see that all I have to do is put in the numbers. I blanked out the input, which was this part, the part that changed, and the formula in the down here was not going to change. The formula is going to be the same, but what the input to the formula was going to change from 2020 to 2021. So I can just over and over again, just copy that worksheet with the formulas already in there, knowing that my input can change. And even if it doesn't, all the fixed things is still going to be the same. Does that make sense? Did that help, Mary?
Yeah. I wish I'd have known that a year ago.
Well, I mean, I've been using Excel for a long time, and when I create things, because I've been using it for a long time, and I'm always learning something new. There's always something new to learn about Excel, but let me tell you, it didn't happen overnight. I didn't learn all this right off the bat. I had to play around with it.
Right.
Figure out what can I do, because what I like about Excel is that it does cut down on your time. It takes time to understand how to create your worksheets. If you create them well, then it's a time saver. If you do everything the hard way, yes, it's going to be just as timely as a pen and pencil. But that's how I did it.
Okay.
I did the first one, make sure that I had all my income, all my input figures that are going to change. I knew where they were, and my output, which is going to be some kind of function or formula. Then once I knew that all worked, I copied it, took out the input. And so I can do the same thing every month without having to reinvent the wheel. Okay.
Okay.
So we can, if you want to do a budget from scratch, make-believe budget that you can change the numbers as you want. That's how I do it.
Okay.
Okay. But I never did get an answer to, do you guys want to know about pivot tables, or should I just scrap pivot tables?
I don't think I'm interested in it.
We'll do it next week, right?
Yeah, it would be next week. But if nobody's interested in it, that's okay.
Yeah.
No.
Because it's something that
I'd like to know more about pivot tables.
Okay.
Yes, I would say yes.
Yes, I would too.
Next week would be nice.
Every little bit helps.
Okay.
Absolutely, Linda. Every little bit.
All right.
That's
So
it.
I will create, and next week will just basically be pivot tables. When whatever time we have left, we will, kind of revisit the budget creation again, just to make sure that everybody's got that. If anything, everybody can use a budget.
Yeah.
Everybody should use a budget.
Tell me about it. I'm still
All
working.
businesses use budgets. Yeah, I know. I'm still working on my budget. Believe me, it really helped me when I retired to know how my input was going to change.
Yeah.
But not only that, but if you have investments and things, there's so many things that help you, figure out where your money's going and where you want it to go and how to get it there. So without understanding those basic functions and formulas, and to me, the budget is the best place to learn that. It's the best vehicle to learn that because it's something that you can apply right away. Okay.
I will ask you offline to help with my income tax table. I made a table on my own out of Word, and I would like to just transfer that to Excel so I could add easily. Yeah. So
Okay.
I'll do that on a personal basis. Thank you.
Okay.
All right. Everybody
right.
have a great week.
Thank you.
Yeah, you
guys-
too.
All
Thank
right.
you.
Goodbye.
Bye.
Bye.